Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Good evening. I have to go into this again. I didn't want to. I was hoping that it could be allowed to unfold, but there's such an outcry about the girls in chains. So that has become the catchy marketing title. The girl that I spoke to the most was in a chain, and she also had a cord around her. So what do we know? Well, what we know is what we've been told, and all that we know is that that's what we've been told. So there is such an outcry saying it should not be allowed, and it can't fall to me. It just can't fall to me. First of all, we do not know that area. In order to be able to make a visit to those girls, we spend probably 5 hours driving. Do you understand that? 5 hours. Take 5 hours out of your day and see how often you can do that. I'm not making excuses because I don't have to. Now let me give you a little good, what I hope is good news. The family has been interviewed by the celebrity of that human affairs, human interest program, Jessie Soho. And the team apparently have been down there and have done their interviews and shot their footage, which apparently now is being, or has been, edited into a program into which will be inserted the presence of Miss Soho herself. Evidently she doesn't actually go around to these places and do interviews herself on the spot, but after the program is put together, then they know what she has to say to the greatest effect. And she does do, apparently, good work. I don't think I've seen any of her programs that I was aware of at the time, in the same way that I'm aware of Jessie Soho now, because we have bumped into the Jessie Soho team, so to speak, with blind girl Sarah. Now, blind girl Sarah as a case for Beth and I was completely different. For one thing, we were not chained ourselves, if you remember, because we had not had a complaint launched against us by that bottom feeder who we don't need to name. So that planned attack has now meant that we are not allowed to do any welfare work. Now, we've gone ahead quietly, and with the knowledge of the DSWD, because I have actually told them what we're doing. I've told them, I've reiterated that what our agreement was that we would not do any welfare work. Now, I interpret not doing any welfare work to be doing programs, things like finding families who need to be rehoused, building them a house, walking away, raising the funds to be able to do it, publicizing their case, and the same for the children. If you remember, at one time, it seems like years ago now, but it's actually only a month or two that we have been unable to give the kids who are with us their 400 pesos. I am appalled at that idea that we were not able to do that. It was terrible to have to make that announcement to those children on that Sunday. But that was the case, and that's what we had to do, and we have reaffirmed that we are keeping our agreement. Now, as a private citizen, as private citizens, Beth and I are free to do what we want in support of our friends. And so when our friends and neighbours come to us and they need help, we have a source of finance, of funds, where we can go to and we can help them. So when some emergency comes up, we actually can give to a case in need. And we just had a case today where we went to see we went to see the lady with cancer of the breast, and one of our subscribers, Peps, had sent us some special seeds, nuts, kernels, and in his experience, by making them into a certain dosage 2 or 3 times a day, he had actually beaten cancer, a cancer that was threatening his life eventually. So he'd been offered the usual treatment of chemo and all of that. He didn't take it, and he walked away from that treatment, and he did it himself, and he sent some stuff for the lady with the breast cancer, and we went to see her again today. We also went to see, because they're of the same household, and we made a video, so you may have already seen it, we went to see the old man with Alzheimer's, and he's a very funny guy, and we took him some clothes around, because last time that we went, he said, I've got no the woman's lament, I've got nothing to wear. Well, anyway, we took some clothes around and we gave him some nice clothes, and we gave the rest of the family some nice clothes as well, because we were given the clothes with the express instructions to take what we needed ourselves and to then give the rest away, which is no great stretch for us, because we love doing that and have received well over 40 boxes now, which we've done exactly that. So we still have some more stuff, and we'll be giving it away as we go along. We took that around to the lady, and she had been sent 1,000 pesos. We gave that 1,000 pesos to her, and we took from our Patreon fund. That's what we're talking about. We took from our Patreon fund 1,000 pesos, and we gave that, we added it to the 1,000 that she was receiving from someone else. And we've been doing that. Sometimes we will get someone, a neighbor, who is in some kind of trouble. There's one particular old lady who is well into her 70s, and I'm tongue-in-cheek when I call her old, and she does the 2-mile walk to our house early in the morning, and she asks for help. Well, we're not making videos where we go on and say, if you feel touched by anything that you see, you can help and you can send a gift if you want. We're not doing that. In fact, you may have seen that we are actually doing the opposite. And if it seems at all like it might be misinterpreted as a plea for funds, we are actually stating this is not an attempt to solicit funds, in line with our agreement with the DSWD. Alright, now that kind of is all the background, isn't it? But that pinpoints our difficulty. We can't go round, we can't go charging around into the office of the DSWD, even if we do it on our knees and as humble as can be. We can't go and say, well, look, we've been investigating this, and this is what we found. It's a fact of life that we have been facing ever since we had to sign an agreement saying that we would not seek to solicit funds for any charity works. Now, if you're a newcomer, you need to go back and have a look at the videos about the DSWD and what we have been forced to agree to. You can't keep answering the same questions over and over. I already spend possibly 3 hours. Today I've spent 4 hours answering comments. Very often we wake at 3:30 because the signal is very good at that time, 3:30, 4 o'clock. And I do an hour at least at that time in the morning, lying in bed, and I answer those comments which I feel need an answer. A lot of them I just put like on them and hope that people will understand. With the advent now of 58,000 subscribers, all of the older subscribers we're heavily involved with. We're friends, we are correspondents in so many cases where they have written to me, and I know about their families, and they share all kinds of stuff, and I feel privileged to know those things. But it does take time, and sometimes for a long message that someone may have written to me, all I can do is put a thumbs up and say, I got it, thanks for sharing, and I hope you understand on that too. I do my best to answer, but it should make you realize that we are ill-equipped to actually do anything substantial to take on a case like this. Now, if that house or houses with those ladies who are chained to beds and to the post of the house itself, if they were just around the corner, maybe that would be something that we could handle. But normally we have a rule that we cannot help people who are outside of our area, our zone of influence. And with this particular case, we just felt that we just had to know what the situation was. Well, we found out as much as we could of the situation, but was that enough? Now, we have one of our subscribers that we care very much about and respect a great deal, Exa. He comes under the name of Exa, and he is absolutely adamant that we have to do something about this. Exa, you have to understand that we are tethered ourselves. We can't go in and start demanding answers. We can't go in and beg for answers. First of all, it's not in our area. It's something like 2.5 hours away from where we live. So we would just simply be intruders into this. Now, looking at it logically, and trying to be the detective, they have had some treatment. If they've had some treatment, they must have logically have had some analysis of some kind. So they've been seen by a doctor, and the illogical nature of 3 daughters all having the same mental problems must have struck other people as well. Now, maybe we're all used to dreading our worst nightmares, which is what could be happening here. Certainly, it seemed to me that it is full of emotive circumstances. A woman chained to a bed. What on earth would we be talking about there? So these are women, 2 of whom have had children. Well, what do you need to do to have a child? Well, can you do it while you're chained to a bed? I would have to assume that you can. We're going to do what we can, but even though it seems totally ineffectual, it's what we can do. We've taken food around and made sure that they have some food for as long as it will last. We intended to go again, but as luck would have it, when we went to get the tyres changed in preparation for the trip, which should have just been an hour, it turned out that one of the lag bolts would not come off. So we had to have it burned off. We had to have a whole visit to the mechanic shop, waiting while lunch was on, and in the end there was no time, right? So we didn't get to go and see them again. Now, a lot of people have said, well, you know what, if if your worst fears are to be entertained, then maybe you should be going around there with a bodyguard and a couple of Doberman, and that might have its truth as well. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go around there with an army because we don't feel that we're in any danger, and maybe we're wrong, and maybe we're right. So the good news, as I started to tell you before I wandered off, as I usually do, is that Jessica Soho is going to do a program on this, and it should be released. Beth,
Yeah,
when is that program on?
I'm really not sure when, but every Sunday.
It's on usually every Sunday?
Yeah, every Sunday is the program.
Okay, so
But we don't know yet the date of releasing it. But the mother said that they already interviewed.
So the mother has said, you may have heard the voice in the distance, you may have heard that the mother has said that they've been interviewed. Now, these are skilled people at finding out what is relevant in a story. And so if they have interviewed these ladies, they will have been looking for what there is in terms of a story. And they're going to air that, hopefully, we're hoping, Sunday. Now, we'll just have to wait and see if that happens. That's this Sunday, or it will be another Sunday, because I'm sure that they don't operate just a few days ahead of their programming. I'm sure that they have things in line and things take their turn. So a program that was put together this week may not be aired for, say, a week or 2 weeks. Who knows? I'm only guessing now, okay? So, excerpt. We're doing our best. And going into the DSWD office is just not possible. It can't be done. If it is that this is deemed to be social work, we will be offering ourselves up on the slab as having broken our agreement, and we are adamant that we have not broken our agreement by just caring about other people. Okay, programs, as I said, like giving kids some dinner money, some lunch money, we don't feel that they are breaking our agreement. If I could finish my sentence, darling.
Yes, but as far as I understand, the mother said they already went to the mayor's office, to the DSWD. I'm not sure exactly, but that's what the mother said because they asked help, so we just hope and pray that, that there, because of that Jessica Soho program, which is the national TV, they could provide an injections which is needed for them, because as what the mother said, they already been injected last July, but in the last few months, over a year, those 3 had never been injections. In fact, the 2 is been aggressive. That's why they
aggressive.
Yeah, because of no injections, very very violent. So after and that time that we visited them, they already had injections. That's why they are calm, But still, they've been tied because they've been still in chain because of the unpredictable conditions of the mine. So we're hoping that they will be having an injections that is appropriate for their conditions, and at the same time some medications to which we're hoping that through the program of Jessica Soho, they will be able to get that attention. So to all the prayers for the family, we're really really sad for the conditions, because it's like what do you call that? Tragedy.
Yes, it's
3
a tragedy.
members on your family is having a mental problem, and it's very sad also in the part of, because those 2 got kids, no father, no father, and then the other girl, the other woman that still not in a good mind, but don't have chain, she got 9-year-old child, little girl. And that little girl never been in school. That supposedly she will be around grade 3 or grade 4, but she didn't even go to school because the mother don't want to be away from the child. Because trauma in her mind that somebody will steal the child, her little girl, like what happened of the boyfriend. I don't know, like the story. It's a long story. So the baby, the little girl, wherever the mother is, going to the CR, going to wash, get water. The little girl is following her mother. So that's another scenario that we're hoping that if the mother had an injections and be back in the right mind, the little girl will be sent to school. Yeah, because 9-year-old supposedly to be in the school. Because education is the only way to be out in the poverty.
I know that.
In the situations. So that's it, my contribution.
So she flew in, she flew out. So we are doing what we can. That's what it amounts to. What we intended to do today was we intended, before we got tied up with fiddling about with a wheel nut on our bus, before we got messed up with that, we went to Alturas to buy 3 mattresses so that we could take those mattresses along with some clothes for those 3 women so that they could at least sleep on a mattress. Well, that was a plan that didn't work out. They didn't have the mattresses in stock anyway, so even if the truck had been good, we still wouldn't have been able to go. But that's on the books, that's on the cards now for how we feel that we can help. Like we always say, we really consider ourselves to be first responders, and if it is that a video that we've followed up and made, if it is that it helps to bring in some national attention, some medical attention, then we will have done our job, and that's it. But we can no more take this case on than we can for the subscriber who said about the lady with breast cancer, and he suggested, with the best of intention, I know this is not a criticism, but with the best of intention, he said, why don't you bring her, if you're worried about her having the right juice or the right treatment or using the juicer, then why don't you bring her to your guest house as a hospice and make sure that she gets the care that she needs there. It's not our job to provide long-term care. Ours is to get people off their knees and to get some help for them, something where they might be able to extend themselves and meet the challenge of life. We're not able to do that right now because of our ban. In so many cases, we're not able to do it. But what the hell? We can take some groceries round to a family if we think that they need it. We can take a gift that we have been sent by some subscriber, and we can hand it on as we were asked to. We can hand on the money for the church. Dennis of London, his code name Dennis of London, and he wants to see, he's seen the video of the church, and he's in the construction industry himself, so he says that's something that's real to him. I would like to see the church smooth rendered inside, sand and cement, and I would like to see that happen, and I want you to give the money to Pastor Timio and make it happen. So it's Pastor Timio's church project, and all that we're doing is we're the middleman for handing over the money, because Pastor Timio is not set up to do it, and we hand the money over in its entirety, as always. So that's all that we can say. We will bring you an update for those who cannot see the Miss Soho movie series episode. We will keep you updated on what happens, and hopefully there is some help in sight for these ladies, all three of them. Thanks for looking in. This is A Foreigner in the Philippines. We are not a big corporation and possibly never will be. We are just two people, Beth and I, and we do what we can with what we have. That's the reality. Thanks for looking in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and to share this if you think that it might kickstart something in the way of action for these two ladies. Who knows? You might send this to someone who sends it to someone who sends it to someone who is in a powerful position to help. So you never know exactly what will happen to any video. Thanks for looking in. Bye for now.